Just for the sake of transparency, I am not a member of the Southern Baptist Convention. I have some friends who are in the SBC, but it makes no difference to me if a church is in the Southern Baptist Convention or not. I have no problem with those who willingly join, and I have no problem who decide, the SBC is just not a good fit for me or my church. So when it comes to Mark Johnson's new book by B&H Academic, Black Church, White Convention, A Pastor's Story of Hope, I don't really have a place in the debate over should traditional African American churches join the SBC. If I'm honest, I don't really care about this debate all that much. For me, this was an interesting read to discover what Mark Johnson unearthed in his inquiry into the history of the SBC, and would it be appropriate for his traditional African American church in Cleveland, Ohio, to join the SBC. I wanted to know if the SBC, if their history was darker with regards to racism or brighter on this issue than what I have seen in the past in blogs and sermons and social media posts online. Should we view the Southern Baptist Convention as a racist collection of white churches, where any appearance of connecting with African Americans is more about saving face and appearing to be good in a day where, for our culture, we by and large view racism as the worst of all sins? So should we view the SBC as a convention that started in a dark place with regards to racism, but has a track record now of looking to create unity in the body of Christ? Mark, what does the historical record tell us? So Mark Johnson walks the reader through the messages that he gave to his church to tell them about the history of the SBC through the resolutions that the convention passed over the years. And if you have a few minutes, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about what I learned from Black Church, White Convention by Mark Johnson. Welcome to Rev Reads. If you want to discover more books that will help bring peace to the body of Christ, please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with my latest book review. Also, give this video a like, share it online to help others know about the good work that's going on at B&H Academic. The most affordable way to build a large theological library today is through Logos Bible software. Follow the link in the description below to purchase your own Logos edition of Black Church, White Convention. Also follow the link in the description to subscribe to Logos for 60 days for free to enjoy their library and helpful Bible study tools. In Black Church, White Convention, we walk with Mark Johnson on a journey as he leads his independent, historic Black congregation, Liberty Hill Baptist Church, to join the Southern Baptist Convention. The book tracks how Johnson uses the past resolutions of the SBC to lead his church to an accurate view of where the SBC is today. I think this was a great strategy by Johnson because by focusing on the resolutions passed in the SBC, he's avoiding hearsays, past stories that were just brought down from person to person, but actually looking at the written resolutions of the SBC. We have a paper trail that informs us of the SBC's growth in the direction of racial reconciliation. My only question, though, about this book is, were there ever resolutions passed by the SBC that worked against Johnson's goal of showing growth in the SBC in the right direction? I say that because every resolution that is ever passed regarding race that makes their way into this book, every single one was positive in the direction of seeking to help African Americans and bring unity to the church, from the education of Negroes in the 1860s to condemning arson against historically Black churches in the 1990s. Every resolution that the SBC passed on this issue, in my opinion, was a good one. In fact, the only negatives regarding this issue would have been times where the SBC did not pass a resolution. They didn't express anything at all with regard to sorrow or outrage over something that occurred. An example is when the SBC passed no resolutions following the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. And I would say that the only resolution that could in some way be construed as a bad one was when the SBC had passed a resolution calling for prayer on behalf of fallen Confederate soldiers at the end of the Civil War. I think every resolution that was shared in this book moved the SBC in the right direction of loving, encouraging, seeking peace among African Americans. It just surprises me with all the vitriol that people spew against the SBC at times that, according to Johnson's research, you could say that every resolution was a step in the right direction. The best part of this book, from my perspective as a white pastor without really a horse in this race, is more about how we can receive a unity among Christians of different ethnicities. And if you want to have that unity in the church, Johnson's writing talks about the importance of forgiveness. Forgiveness requires those who are wronged to bear at least some of the burden that was sinned against them. We need to remember Jesus bore all of the burden for those who sinned against him on the cross. And when we forgive others, it will require us at minimum to bear some of the pain that was caused by their sin against our heart and our mind. So Johnson in this book is asking his congregation to forgive the SBC for their initial stance in supporting slavery and any hurt, either real or perceived, that had been caused by them over the years. He was asking them to lay genuine pain upon their shoulders and bear it for another. The reason forgiveness is so difficult for us is that we don't want to take that pain and carry it. We want the people who caused the pain to pay the price and receive the judgment for what they have done. We want them to make full restitution. But forgiveness is when you step in and you're willing to welcome someone as a friend while bearing the pain that they caused and what they have done. The story of Liberty Hill Baptist joining with the SBC is a powerful illustration of forgiveness and a great example of how we need to say, I know it hurts to forgive you, but in the name of Christ, in the glory of the gospel, I will forgive you as I was first forgiven because I know Jesus Christ bore my pain on the cross. There will be no peace in the church without forgiveness. Forgiveness must come before restitution, resolutions, commitment, and confessions. Forgiveness is needed more than anything else. When Johnson got to the end of going through decades of resolutions showing how the SBC had reached out again and again to give grace and welcome their African American brothers, to call an African American pastor from New Orleans as the head of the SBC for a time, to confess their initial sins regarding their views on slavery, after all of that was done, there would be no peace if there was no forgiveness that was willing to be offered. So if you're struggling with division in your church, be it caused by race or past sins of violence or lust or greed, the answer to finding peace in your church, it's got to start with forgiveness. That is how we are made right with God. And by bearing the burden of others, by offering that forgiveness, that is the way to find peace in the church. So I found this short book to be a compelling read. It's a powerful illustration on the importance of reaching out with grace to those that you have wronged, the damage of what happens when we say nothing when evil is being done, and most important of all, the importance of forgiveness to bring peace to the body of Christ. So thank you, Mark Johnson, for sharing the story of your church with us through this book produced by B&H Academic.